Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Cabral.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Great to have you here on the weekend edition of the Cabral Concept. We refer to it as the Cabral HouseCalls. Hopefully my opportunity to be able to step into your home or one of our community's members' homes, answer their question as if we were having a one-on-one consultation. Of course, I don't have all of the backstory, but I do have at least a place to get started to be able to hopefully share with you a second opinion, another way of maybe looking at the issue that you may be facing. So I always look forward to these weekend shows. I'll be answering 6 questions today and another 6 tomorrow too. If you enjoy the weekend host calls, we would love for you to review the show. That is, of course, how we spread the message to more and more people. You can do that on whatever your favorite MP3 player is. Or I don't think they're MP3s. I guess they're podcasts. Whatever your favorite podcast player is, we would appreciate that. All right, let's dive into today's show. I've been getting right into the questions instead of going on a lot of my rants, which I often do. And that is because I want to use our time and really get to as many questions as I can. So this first one's coming in from March 12th. I always give you kind of a play-by-play. This show is being released on the 21st. So that does look like we're 7-8 weeks or so backlogged on questions. And I just share that with you simply to let you know that your question, if it was answered, if it was asked before March 12th, was already answered on a weekend host call. Again, we can never tell you when your particular question will be answered, but it was asked and you wrote in after March 12th. It is still in the queue. We answer every single one on the weekend shows. All right, let's get started. First question's from Anonymous. And Anonymous says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I do the daily foundation protocol level 2 in the immunity protocol. I have the herpes simplex virus 2. However, I had the virus in January. I was sick for half a day, major head pain, and then tired, but mostly recovered by the next day. 1 week after, I lost my taste and smell for 5 days. A week after that, I started getting a herpes-like rash on one of my fingers. Took a few days to heal. A week later, it resurfaced. I kept an infrared light on it, and it healed in a couple days. A week later, it resurfaced. What do I do? I've heard that HSV2 can hide behind heavy metals or parasites, but I've done the HM and Parasite protocols. Help me out. Thank you so much." Okay, happy to help. Yeah, a lot of people throw around the idea of heavy metals or parasites hiding these viruses. Okay, I want to just make this a little bit more clear. They don't necessarily hide the virus. That's not necessarily true. What I think people are trying to say is that a herpes virus will stay dormant until the body becomes overly stressed. Okay, so it pushes more into that chronic-based T helper-based state, where then you literally overflow your rain barrel, right? So what happens is the rain barrel effect. So what happened for you, and again, so it still can be heavy metals, it still can be parasites, but if you're good, you're good. Like, you don't need to read more into that. So heavy metals can cause more inflammation, fills up the rain barrel. Parasites, more gut issues, poor sleep, inflammation, loose stool, poor nutrient absorption, fills up the rain barrel, right? So in this case, you got the virus. What did it do? Well, your body strong enough to knock it down in a half a day or so, but it was still fighting it. You lost your sense of taste and smell. Hopefully that's already back by now. I have many podcasts on that. So our job is to literally have that virus go dormant again. And some people say you can get rid of it, some you can't. Honestly, I always say this. I'm like, in the end, we don't want it to ever show up again. So you can say it's dormant, or you can say it's completely gone, like I did with Epstein-Barr virus and many other people have as well. So this is how I look at it. I have a very specific immunity-based protocol for rebalancing the body. Again, we don't treat any medical diseases. We don't cure any medical diseases. We don't diagnose any medical diseases, and I don't give medical advice. So I just want to throw that out there, right? But what I do for people with viruses, work on that underlying root cause imbalance. So we have a whole protocol for that. I've shared that on many shows. I don't know if I get this show right, I'll be pretty excited. Let's see if it's StephenCabral.com/760. If not, it's pretty close around there. So it's how to destroy viruses. Well, there it is. All right. StephenCabral.com/760. All right. Thank you for writing in, and just keep boosting that immune system. And I have no doubt you will be there. And those the underlying root causes. Again, fill up the rain barrel, body gets stressed, and there you have it, right? All right. Aaron's up next. Muscle knots. I always seem to have them in my lower neck or shoulder area, especially on my right side. Weight workouts make them even worse. What's the reason for this, and what can I do to correct this? Thank you so very much. Aaron, happy to help with this. I always love being able to talk exercise and biomechanics, which is just basically how the body moves. So here's the thing. And you know what? I'm probably going to do a whole podcast on this. So thank you for bringing this up. If you could see this might look organized. Maybe it doesn't to you. If you could see my desk right now, it literally looks like a tornado blew through. So I'm going to make a little note though on muscle knots, because it's a question I get quite a bit. And a lot of people tell you, you need to be stretching more. You need to be foam rolling more. You need to be getting massages more, and all of those things you should do, and they're all amazing. They really are. However, if it's like Groundhog Day, every day you wake up and you have these muscle knots, stretching, chiropractic, this, that, and the other thing, again, they're all great, okay? They are all great, but there's a deeper issue. And the issue always comes down to this, and it's imbalances in the body. Every good functional range conditioning specialist, what's the one by NASM? They've got another one as like performance exercise, something, any good athletic trainer, any good NASM-based personal trainer, ACSM, they all should be able to help with this. But the bottom line is that oftentimes with this head area, let's just use, I'm not going to go through the whole body, but let's use the head for an example. All right. So right now I'm doing a podcast, but I'm at the same desk I do when I'm looking at my computer. If you're watching this on video, you'll start to see what I'm talking about. So your chin, when you're working, comes way over your shoulders. But I have a whole podcast on this. I couldn't tell you the number of it, but you can always ask at cabralsupportgroup.com, and they can hopefully help find it. But your ears are supposed to line over your shoulders, which will line over your hips, which will line over your knees, which will line over your ankles. So if you just stand normally, now that you know you're having a photo taken of you, just stand normally how you typically would. And then you can stand with good posture if you want. But have someone take a photo of you from the side and the front and the back. A good biomechanics person can look at that and be like, oh, your right shoulder's a little bit elevated. Your chin, which is called cervical flexion, is a little further forward. And you're basically taking this head, which is 5 to 8 pounds, and you're moving it forward, and that's creating more tension in your traps. Now, maybe your traps aren't strong enough. Maybe your rhomboids aren't strong enough to keep everything back. Maybe your SCM muscles, sternocleidomastoid muscles, are too tight. So I can't tell you exactly what the imbalance is, but for sure I can tell you there's a muscular imbalance. Even if you're strong and even if you're muscular, some tussles, you like that? Some muscles are tight and weak most likely, and some are elongated and probably weak as well. Again, so sometimes the muscles in the back, they're elongated and not as strong. The muscles in the front can be tight and strong. So you want to look at that, all right? And that's for sure, though, going to help you more than the constant stretching every day. You'll do some exercises to help strengthen all of those postural muscles, while at the same time then stretching out your pectorals, your SCM muscles, strengthening these traps, rhomboids, etc. All right. Ernestine is up next, and they are saying, hello, is there a home water softener system that you recommend? All right, so typically when people are asking about water softener systems, they're asking about how do I take some of the extra minerals out of my water, namely calcium, that's the biggest one, but there could be others as well, certainly could be. And so typically what we're recommending, because you want to filter your water anyways, the Berkey will do some, but typically we're looking at a reverse osmosis. My recommendations are at stevencabral.com/resources. I've got over 100 resources there from like 100 different companies that I use myself. I'm probably about 2 months away from recommending another water-based filter that can go on your counter as well. It doesn't necessarily replace the Berkey. I still love the Berkey. I really do. I think it's an amazing water filter, and that's at stevencabral.com/resources. Hopefully we have a discount there for you. I'm not sure if we do because these aren't our companies, but we like recommending good companies. But if you can get a whole house reverse osmosis filter, like one day, when the crazy world that we live in is less crazy and the market is less crazy, my family and I look forward to buying a house. And when that day comes, we're going to put in a whole house reverse osmosis water filter so that we don't have to have a shower filter and a bath filter and then a tap water filter. We'll have one filter and then we'll just add back in some good minerals, which I've talked about on previous shows. So check out my current recommendations at stevencabral.com/resources and you'll find those RO machines right there. Okay. Anonymous is up next, and this person's saying, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I've written in before for low white blood cells. A quick summary. I'm an anxious person, overthinker, very hard trait to disconnect from, but I'm working on it. I take Adrenal Soothe, full spectrum magnesium in the morning, vitamin D, vitamin C, and the DNS shake. In suggestion to my question before, you had question I had asked about my low white blood cells. You suggested it could be oxidative stress, which made total sense to me and still does. But I just recently had some blood work done. The doctor was helping me to try to dig a little deeper as to why it might be happening. It's always on my mind. It turns out I tested positive, or it's showing up on my blood work for Epstein-Barr virus and cytomegalovirus. Honestly, I'm shocked and pretty disheartened. I had my CBC drawn and it actually went up a little and thought maybe I was doing something right, and the draw, as the virus results, it had gone down significantly. I'm quite frankly scared this is going to lead me down a sad path and I don't know my next move. My cortisol was high and she said I'm in adrenal burnout. I listened to a previous podcast of yours, episode 760. Hey, there we go. Look at that. It's fortuitous that you mentioned that. I guess I'm wondering if there's anything else I can do, and what's your best suggestion for me? Really just feeling kind of helpless. Appreciate any direction from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Well, Anonymous, here's the good news that, this is, I don't know. I mean, I have turned myself into a glass half full kind of guy. I believe in the struggle. I now accept the struggle in life. I realize it's a part of life. And for me, I don't try to escape it. I just say, listen, good, this is part of life. Like, okay, we're going to do our best. I'm going to always do my best. Here's the thing, Anonymous. I had Epstein-Barr virus. I had it for a good decade. Now, it's still inside of me too, because again, you can't find it. But to my knowledge, these viruses go dormant and they're at a low level and they can be kicked back up. Same with you. Why are they kicked back up? Oftentimes because of stress and weakened immunity. Well, stress weakens immunity as well. It's kind of like I was just talking about with the herpes virus. Well, I mean, Epstein virus, you can make an argument that it's kind of part of that same family. Mononucleosis, Epstein-Barr virus, herpes viruses, like shingles, you can kind of get all in the same family. But here's the thing, let's step back for a moment. This shouldn't dishearten you because you probably had Epstein-Barr virus potentially. Again, I can't give you a diagnosis for years, for many, many years. So it always goes back to this. Again, I still stand by what I said for the lower white blood cells. I can't give you a diagnosis. I'm not going to give you a diagnosis. But the more wear on your body, the more stress on your body, right? So Anonymous, if you haven't read my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, you have to start there. And the reason is that you need a foundation to build off of. Like you need a true foundation. And you need to know how you're going to get well. There's no one thing I could give you. But what I can tell you, and especially if you're using our new Iubowan-based app, you need to work the de-stress protocol, the anti-inflammatory diet, the not over fasting, the not over stressing out about your nutrition, good Mediterranean style, not super low carb to stress your body out more, right? Then you need to be doing some exercise, but lower level right now, and maybe enjoy some yoga. Then you need to do stress reduction, binaural beats, meditation. You choose your favorite. I don't have to tell you which one, right? You get your walking in there. You're doing your detoxes. You're getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night. You're getting to bed before 10 p.m. Like you are literally working the de-stress protocol. That's how you get well. There's no other way. There's literally no other way. And the reason is, if you want to get well through nutrition alone, you need to be so on point that it overcomes everything else. But I just haven't found that. Because improving your digestion and reducing stress, I always say this, if I could fix 2 things in people, I'd be getting rid of the candida and the mold and the yeast and I basically just named all yeast-based things in one, but you know what I'm saying, the bacteria, the parasites, and the H. pylori. And then I'd work on reducing stress. And so if I do that, well, I can improve the immune system. If I can improve the immune system, I can overcome a lot of these things. So that's really what you're looking at. Please read the de-stress protocol. Read the Rain Barrel Effect, which has the de-stress protocol. It's free. I pay almost $8 of my own money to print that book for people. Literally my own money. I just ask that people pay for shipping. And in the US, it's $7.95. Like that's what it is. It's actually over $8 now, but it's okay. I want to get this book out to as many people as possible. I didn't write a book to make any money off of it. And the money I do make from Amazon sales and from other sales, I donate 100% of it to charity. And we do that every single year. We donate a decent amount. So that's that. Again, I want to help you in every way possible. You're being led down some different roads. When you have high cortisol, that's not adrenal burnout. Adrenal burnout is low cortisol. So again, your practitioner's not trying to hurt you in any way, but high cortisol is not adrenal burnout. It's the alarm stage of higher stress. I would suggest working with an IHP level 2. Again, you don't have to leave your doctors. I'm not saying that, but it's okay to have a team. Okay. So work with an IHP level 2 or work with one of our Eco-Life-based coaches. All right? You'll get there. You'll get there. Run the Big 5 if you can. If you can't run the Big 5, run the starter kit. I'm telling you, you'll get there. Keep working it. It doesn't happen overnight. Success is an up and down, but you continue to move forward in life, and you will get there. All right, Stephen is up next. Stephen says, if calcium levels are high in the blood, would you assume that they would appear higher than magnesium in a hair tissue test? And if they're low in the blood, would they appear lower than magnesium? Or is calcium tested in the hair tissue different than one in the serum? Yeah, it's a great question. And yes, they're different. So let's just do a quick breakdown. If calcium is high in the blood, there can be all sorts of different issues that are wrong. Like literally, it could be from higher levels of stress. It could be hyperadrenalism. It could be from a catabolic nature in the body. Your body's breaking down literally bone tissue. It could be taking high doses of vitamin D without taking something like the daily nutritional support, which also has the K2, magnesium, etc. So there's different reasons why the blood can become calcium retentive. It's called. Not a good thing. You do not want high levels of calcium in the blood. It can start to harden your arteries. That means blood cannot flow through properly because you cannot dilate or expand the arteries and constrict the arteries. It's really bad for high blood pressure, cardiovascular issues. Top 2 causes of death. We don't want that. Okay, so why would it be higher in the hair? Well, if your body is under a higher state of stress, you're going to show higher levels of calcium in your hair. No doubt about it. Some of the same reasons as I just named. No doubt about it. Higher level of stress, catabolism, etc. So it could correlate much of the time, but not always. Now, magnesium is your body's bioavailability to use magnesium to then balance calcium. That's why people sometimes go bananas over calcium. But you have to realize we're getting calcium in our diet every day. We can get it from some good quality nutritional supplements. But if you're taking magnesium, again, along with daily nutritional support, with the K2, with the vitamin D, with the zinc, is going to make sure the calcium finds its home, right? In the tissues that it's supposed to be in, and the bone, which is tissue, by the way. So Yeah, hopefully that's helpful. And then again, run the hair tissue mineral analysis, work with an IHP level 2 or someone on our team, and they will explain it to you. That's the difference with working with an integrative health practitioner versus a medical doctor. They will take the time to explain to you what your numbers mean and how this lab, as a functional medicine lab, is meant to be read, not from a disease diagnosis. All right? So again, have a medical doctor, do medical things with them. But if you're working on, that's sick care, that's disease, right? But if you want to get well and you want to work on health, work with an integrative health practitioner or your local naturopathic doctor, and they'll have the knowledge as well. All right. Last question is from Susan. Susan says, hi, I'm a psychotherapist who works with many women with chronic GI issues, gastrointestinal issues, due to severe eating disorders and long-term restrictive behaviors around food. When trying to reintroduce fish, for instance, they wake up smelling like fish and it seems to seep through their pores. Other refeeding and reintroducing fair foods lead to chronic bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea. Due to behavioral triggering aspect, these clients cannot do any of fasting or elimination protocol. And supplements can increase symptoms. More gastro and even ED dietitians and naturopaths don't seem to have answers for healing. I really feel for these clients and want to offer suggestions that might actually help. They are often so frustrated and hopeless, and the symptoms can lead to isolation, which leaves them at risk for relapse. Any info and help you would have would be much appreciated. Thank you for all you do. Susan, happy to help. And we're really lucky and fortunate to have psychotherapists like you that are starting to take into account the biochemical realities of poor nutrition or eating disorders or how the body works. Literally, your body's not going to produce the right amount of serotonin, GABA, dopamine, norepinephrine, etc., if you're not making it inside of the factory in your gut and your brain, right? So I could give you the exact answer, though. The exact answer is fairly straightforward. It's the same reason why someone who's been on a chronically low-carb diet or keto diet, eventually they don't do well with eating carbohydrates again. So it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. They shrink their gut microbiome. Oftentimes they started there in the first place because they got bloated when eating carbs. And the fact is this: it is an imbalance of gut bacteria and yeast in the gut. So when they start to refeed these foods, right, and they start to bring more of what are called prebiotics into the gut microbiome, it starts to feed the negative base bacteria as well as the positive. Well, with that increase, there is some fermentation. That fermentation leads to, we can call it methane gas, we can call it hydrogen-based gas. Either way, it leads to gas and bloating, right? Because you're blowing up a balloon, which think about it, like the ones at the fairs, right? It's like you get that long balloon. Well, that's what your intestines are until it's released through a bowel movement or through gas, whatever it might be. So you just have to start very slowly, and you're going to want to do something like our CBO protocol. So the CBO protocol is proven to work to rebalance the gut, and it comes with a nutrition plan that's not going to overfeed that yeast and bacteria as it's beginning to repopulate and balance. So I have a lot of free podcasts, Susan, just at stevencabral.com/podcasts. And there's some just on on digestion. All right. And then I also have a whole course on digestion at stevencabral.com/courses. And you're welcome to check either of those out. Always feel free to do a follow-up if you're looking for more information. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate you. I am going to be back tomorrow answering more of our community's questions. Are you ready to heal yourself and then go on to heal others? If so, the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute can help you discover proven functional medicine protocols that blend the best of 7 different healing disciplines from around the world. I personally share with you the exact handouts and protocols I use in my private practice that enable people to get well, lose the weight, and live longer, stronger. I want to pass this information on to the next generation of health coaches, and that is exactly why I created IHP. We are the future of the health coaching industry, and the skills and knowledge you will learn will make you an in-demand certified health coach anywhere in the world. Although we have many medical professionals taking the IHP certifications, no experience is necessary, and half our members have no previous health certifications. At the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, our motto is a health coach in every home. Our goal is that you take this knowledge and then share it with family, friends, loved ones, your community, or in a practice where you create a career you love and can be proud of. The global IHP community is filled with some of the most kind and caring people in the world, and we can't wait to welcome you into our world soon. For more information or to set up a discovery call with one of our IHP Health Coach graduates, simply head over to integrativehealthpractitioner.org.